What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of Frank's Unsolicited Advice. Sorry, picked the perfect time for my had to clear my throat, right? Well, as you guys know, I retired. Um, I thought I was gonna record more and I haven't. I apologize for that because I feel like I've allowed things to get in the way. I've been focused on the business that I started before I retired and wanted to, or not wanting to, or wanted to, our intention to grow it more. I've been kind of focusing on that. And I thought, I thought that when I retired, I'll get on here every week and spew so much stuff that I wanted to say that I couldn't say while I was active duty because, when you're active duty, you don't have that luxury to say certain things. You can't, you're in uniform, or people know that you're a sailor, so they don't want to, you can't say stuff that's gonna make the Navy look bad. And I'm gonna tell you that I don't have anything really, really bad to say. I'll say my 26 years in the military were filled with ups, downs, and flat times, great times, bad times, outstanding times. I've met great people and I've met people I don't want to see ever again. I've made friends that will last a lifetime, and I've met some people, made some friendships that I hope never come back again. And it's weird because you say friendship, right? Like, damn, Frank, that's crazy. But it's people you meet and we share time. You got to think, we're in the Navy, we're in the military. 9 times out of 10, we're spending more time with the people we work with than our own family and our real our friends back home, right? So the, these people you work with end up being like your family and your friends. And no matter if I don't like you or not, we end up talking. And one day you might need me, and I'm there for you, or you might be there for me. Doesn't mean we're going to be friends after the fact. It just means that at that moment in time, we put our differences aside and we're brothers or sisters in service and take care of each other. But I can never sit here and say something bad about the Navy. I can't. Um, the Navy's a great organization. I wish my kids would do it. I respect the decision or the fact that they can't, and I'm good with that. But it was good for me. It was good for me. It provided for me and my family. It allowed me to be able to provide for my oldest when I was 17 when she was born, and allowed me to make sure that she had what she needed growing up. And when I met my wife in the Navy and we had our children together, Frankie and Ava, it provided for them too. And now, because of my time and disability, they can go to school for free and they got other benefits. And it's just amazing to have that. So I couldn't get up here and say anything bad about it. What I will say is that a decision I made because I didn't want to go to college and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I took a chance, a leap of faith, call it, to leave everything I knew, my child, my parents, my friends, uh, my girlfriend at the time was in boot camp already, so I wasn't leaving her. I was gonna meet her there. Um, all behind to not chase a dream. Because I didn't know what I was chasing until later on. But I knew I was doing something to better my family. But I left. I left. In this episode, I'm gonna tell you or take you on the journey of what was me leaving home to start a 26-year adventure, I would say. Cliche, right? It's not a job, it's an adventure. Um, in what we call into the Navy, in my life in the Navy. Now, obviously, there's some things I can't say out of respect for other people, and I don't have clearance to say their names or talk about certain stories, but uh, the beginning of it, I didn't know what I was getting into. So I depped in the Navy January 25th, 1997. I went to MEPS the 24th. I took a test, the ASVAB. It was on a pencil. It wasn't even on the computer yet. So Scantron sheet, Friday night. I take this test. We go to a hotel in Staten Island. I forgot the name of the hotel. It just left me. But it was in Staten Island. We went. Me and my boy Alex, who was in high school with me, we did the test together. Well, then, in the hotel, Alex and I are sitting there talking and discussing, man, if we make it, what our plans are. The next day we get up super early, get to MEPS. They give us our scores. I thought I failed because for us, passing is 65 or better. In the Navy at the time, the passing scores are 31. I didn't know I got a 59. So I was like, oh, well, I passed. I said, really? Okay. So I go upstairs and do the physical, get up there, you're in your boxes, you're duck walking, they're asking you a bunch of questions. And it's a long day, long day, long day. I sit down with the classifier. I try to pick a job. Well, I don't try, I end up picking up a job. They give me a bunch of jobs in front of me, descriptions. Nobody's really sitting there explaining what all this is to you. They just tell you read and pick which one you like. So I picked AO because it said I get to build bombs and carry a firearm. So I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be MacGyver. That's what I thought. I'm gonna be MacGyver. I'm able to take this bottle of water and put wires on it, and I'm gonna blow some stuff up. So I said, man, I could get a good job when I get out the Navy. So I picked AO, not knowing. I said at the time I said Millington was the school in Millington in Tennessee. Um, so I was like, okay, that's where I'm going. So I joined. I signed my contract. I got the college fund. It was like $30,000. I think the GI Bill at the time was only $15,000. And I dep in 25th of January. And DEP is for the people that don't know, that's delayed entry program. That's the time that you're waiting that you sign your contract and you wait to go to boot camp, right? So I was a senior in high school. I had to wait till I graduated, and I had braces too, so I had to wait. I got to get those off. But anyways, I dep in the next day. Great day, one of the best days of my life. My daughter was born January 26, 1997. Sharice was born. I saw one of my favorite quarterbacks, Brett Favre, win his first Super Bowl, his only Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, and it was a great time. Fast forward, I shipped out to boot camp September 15th, 1997. My birthday, September 14th. So that was a Sunday. My mom threw a party in the house on Saturday the 13th. And family came over. Everybody came to see me off. Sunday, I had like a last supper type thing with my friends, family, close friends came over. We ate dinner, took a shower. No, went to bed. Took a shower, went to bed. Got up in the morning, took another shower. While I'm showering, I'm done. Before I come out, my cousin comes in. He knocks on the door, says Frank. I said, "What's up?" He's like, "Yo, love you, cuz." Jumbo. He's going to work at Starbucks, so he goes to work. Pause. And I get dressed. I think I eat. I don't even remember if I ate or not, but I get dressed, pack a bag. I thought I was, they tell you what to bring. So I had a fresh fade, had some brand new sneakers on, to PTN. The recruiter was on his way. Um, I walk out the house. Everybody in the neighborhood, like the people that saw me grow up, are outside. Miss Jones, rest in peace, was there. My parents, my sister, everybody that knew me was outside to see me off. And that's the journey when it started, September 15th, 97. Leave there, get to Brooklyn MEPS, go through another physical, get a packet. I think we go to JFK, not sure. Fly to O'Hare, get there, get on the bus. And I remember sitting on this bus and the guy telling us, enjoy your freedom because once we go through this gate, you belong to the Navy. And as soon as we crossed the gate, the games began. They're coming out real nice. Everybody off the bus. You run inside. You don't know what's going on. They're telling you to follow instructions. They're little minor things they tell you to do to see who's actually following instructions, who's not. You got to call home. At the time, you call collect. or you had a calling card and use that to call your home. So I called home, told my parents bendición, and told them I made it. And that was it, that they won't hear from me for a while. And that's it, man. The next day up, I mean, he was up all night, piss test, had to change out of clothes in front of people. My first time dropping my drawers and changing clothes in front of another person. Um, Other than somebody I know, you know what I'm saying? Uh, and put stuff in a box and send it home. You know what I mean? Like, here you go. The new sneakers I bought, everything was sent home. Like none of the stuff they told me to bring, I could keep. They gave me some New Balances, some tidy whities, boxers had to get sent home, and the Smurfs. And we sat there and it was cold. It was dozing off. They finally take us to like this temporary ship, we berthing barracks. And I remember the kid telling me that's on watch. He's like, listen, you don't even get too comfortable because they're gonna wake you up in a few hours. And it was like 1 in the morning. So went to take a shower. My first time taking a shower in front of other men. I didn't play sports in high school, so I don't know what that felt like. I wasn't an athlete. So some people were accustomed to it, some weren't. I just said, F it. It is what it is. Go take the shower, get in the rack, get up, and boot camp kind of starts. It's the P days, and we're marching around the Navy sweats. Some people don't even brush their teeth. Back then it wasn't like it is today, where it's so aware of the culture or what So I don't want to say soft, but everything's so you can't be too close to me or this. And so back then, they used to say nut to butt, meaning your heel to toe. So I was like right on the person's heel in the back in boot camp and packed the line, and we walked through the line. You can't talk. You couldn't. They had these old school videos of boot camp and old school videos of like different things, diver school, different stuff playing, always playing in the background, every TV. You're getting in line for chow, you're eating chow. It's just a process. It's a process. And once you get classed up, everybody's together, they moved us to ship 14. I was division 496, ship 14, and that's where it really began, really all of it. And for the next 8 weeks or 9 weeks, I should say, I experienced something that I didn't plan to experience. I didn't think I would experience. Very different. Meeting people from all walks of life, different parts of the United States. I think we even had one guy that was from the UK that joined and was actually in the British Army before. So he was always polishing his boots, man, and he did a good job. Watching people's habits, learning different things, seeing different things. Growing up, my mom always taught me if you got to go past gas, you want to get up, leave the room, and go into the bathroom or another room where nobody's at to pass gas because you don't, that's embarrassing. We respectful. And if it just happens that, you let it rip in front of somebody, say, excuse me, because, people need to be smelling you. And I remember sitting my first time at Ford IG, and that's when they used to put us sitting down Indian style on the floor, three across in a row, and they're giving us instruction. The recruit division commander is giving us instruction. And he's talking about what the next day is or whatever he was talking about, who knows. And there's a kid next to me, man, just farts. And it's like, what the hell? And I look at him like, yo, you nasty. And he looks at me like, what? It's natural. And I'm like, yeah, you could have got up and went to the bathroom or to the head, right? Let's be military, to the head bathroom. And he goes, no, I don't have to. I'm not gonna get up every time I got to fart. If I feel it, I'm gonna let it go. I'm like, yo, you nasty. You are nasty. Luckily for me, my RDC didn't like it either. And he made him do push-ups every time he did it, or anybody that did it would have to do push-ups. But those are some of the things you get exposed to. People's lack of consideration for someone else. You realize somebody doesn't know how to even fold a sheet to make their bed. Some people don't know how to take care of themselves. simple things like brushing their teeth, wiping themselves, and stuff like that. You see it, and you start realizing that not everybody gets the same upbringing that you get. Boot camp was interesting. I did things that I didn't. I should say, PT in certain way, certain obstacle courses we did, things like that I probably would never did if I would have stayed at home or anything like that. It kind of forced me to step out of my shell, fight a fire. We had firefighting class. I think that was dope. Um, it was just a new experience, a new experience. And I met people there too. Like I said again, from all walks of life, different parts of the US. And acceptance, and realizing that sometimes when we grow up in a bubble in a sense, and we only see what's around or what the TV shows us. 97, there was no cell phones, not like this. They didn't have, the internet wasn't what it is today. So you didn't have certain exposure. It was so chill. And then, the weeks go by. We supposed to get phone calls, we messed that up. We end up talking, and the RDC to punish us. Oh, y'all supposed to make a phone call this Sunday. You're not getting no phone calls. So now we're stuck with letters. And I mean, when you're sitting there waiting for a letter to come by, every time that they call mail call, you're hoping that your name is one of the people that has mail. So you can get a letter from home and feel a sense of home and closeness um from a distance. It just makes your day when somebody says, "Hey, Senior Recruit for Air, you got mail." And you go up there and get your letter and you read it and you're hearing about what's going on back home and you're like, "Man, I love it." I had a moment where I wanted to quit. I did. I didn't like getting yelled at for everybody else. I don't like the community punishment. That's not really me. And I was like, man, you know what? I'll just go back home and figure it out. So I told my RDC, there was an ABH1 Henderson. I think that was his name. If I can, that I wanted to leave boot camp. And his way of getting me to do and stay was that he would give me a phone call. So whenever I felt like, I had enough, he'll call me, first thing in the morning, he gets in at 5, 6 in the morning. He'll have me call home. I'll talk to my dad, or my mom, and I'll be like, okay. They'll put me on the right path, right? They'll put me back straight. So I'll stay. And there was letters that made it easy for me to stay too. Um, one letter was from the mother of my daughter, Serena, who gave me some advice that, made it easier for me to keep pushing. And the other one's from my father. And how he compared his time in basic training in the Army to my time in the Navy. And it's not about, oh, the Navy's much tougher. It wasn't that kind of letter. It was more about his lack of being able to speak English, going into the military in a time where racism was very, very prevalent, where, because he spoke with an accent and he didn't talk enough English, they talked down to him. And he said, look, you have a lot easier than me, son, a lot easier, because I could speak English when he couldn't. And when I read that letter, it put in perspective that I was sitting here making something out of nothing. And I should just focus on the fact that if I survived 18 years in the Bronx, like Dwell said to me, I could survive anywhere. If I grew up in the South Bronx and survived in the 80s and 90s, then guess what? I could survive anywhere. And once I got those thoughts of quitting out my mind, I kept pushing forward. And I took that leap of faith. And boot camp was 9 weeks. And you know what? I experienced a little bit of racism in boot camp, not with me, but towards another Puerto Rican. And it was my first time seeing it. Um, I met people from different places, like I said, and it was an interesting time. Interesting time. But with this episode, what I want to focus on is the fact that when I was 17, I took a chance and I jumped into something I didn't know. And only being a day older as 18-year-old kid in September 15th. I left my daughter behind and my family to embark in a journey and an adventure into something that I didn't know was going to turn into what it turned into. So I start talking about my journey into the Navy, and obviously every episode coming is going to be a different journey in the Navy that I faced. And the reason I started on this because you got to take a leap of faith sometimes. Sometimes we're going to go in life, and what we plan is not what we need to do. What we plan is not our journey. We plan things. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. So I'm going to focus on that. For those that don't, whatever you believe in, whatever energy, power, other being, whatever you believe in, then focus on that. He had another plan for me, right? Because my mom never raised me saying, you're going to have a kid at 17. I did. She was disappointed, very disappointed. Being a teen parent, statistics, the numbers are different. I don't have them in front of me, but they're not the same as somebody that doesn't. Luckily for me, I had support. I had a village, I had a family. But I joined the Navy. That wasn't my plan. It wasn't. It wasn't my plan. But I took a chance. I jumped, I took a leap of faith, and it paid off. So when you're sitting there looking and thinking, man, I went to school for this, or my plan was to go do this, or I want this kind of job here, and other things are knocking in front of your door, or you're getting this feel to pull you into this direction. Don't fight it. Take that leap of faith because you never know what that's going to do for you. 26 years in the Navy, I don't regret one bit of it. Not one bit. Not an ounce. None of that. I love it. I would do it again. It was probably the best 26 years that of my life in a sense. But now I'm looking forward to the rest of my life outside of it. And it all started with a leap of faith. Didn't know why I went into that recruiting station with my friends. I walked in. Didn't know what possessed me to want to pursue it. Didn't know what made me leave my child and leave everything I know, leave my home, my sister, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my friends, the comfortability of my environment, and go to Illinois, Great Lakes for 9 weeks, Pensacola for a few months, about 6, 7 months. The journey went to Virginia, back to New York, back to Virginia, to Pensacola, to Bahrain, back to Virginia, back to New York, and finally back in Virginia. And by the time I end all these episodes that are going to go together with this story, kind of like a sermon in church, all places have a different spot for me. But in this one, what I'm saying is don't be scared to take that leap of faith because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. For me, it worked out and it worked out good. It worked out real good. And you know what? I can't complain. I'm 45 with a pension. Like my uncle told me, God rest his soul, Theo John D said to me in 2001 when I wanted to get out. He said, why you want to get out? And I said, well, I did my time. And he says, so what? I said, well, it's done. The contract's done. I could get out. He goes, why would you want to get out? And then he tells me, look at me. I forgot what age he was already, older. I'm still working. You're going to be younger than me with a pension. So stay in. Before my uncle passed, in January, I had a conversation with him. And, he told me he was very proud of me. He said, you listened to me. And look at you. You have a pension. You have disability coming in. You're good. You're good. In a better place than I was at your age. And it all started with a leap of faith. So don't turn your back on opportunities that are there. Take the risk. Take the chance. Invest in yourself and see what happens. To my uncle, Theodore, God rest your soul. I love you. Thank you for the advice you gave me many, many years ago and the example you provided. And to all the people that supported me when I started this journey, Thank you to my parents, everybody. But till next time, this is Frank's Unsolicited Advice. And the message is take the leap. Take the leap.